him, Bart.
Thanks for inviting me back. I didn't think I was coming back after the last time.
Oh, no, you were great, man. You were great. Now, in order to come back a third time, you're going to have to tell me where you got that jacket.
I got a guy.
Okay.
You got a guy.
We can discuss that later.
I want a lot of testosterone on the set this morning. I'm going to say it. Hey, among the must-see one-on-one battles this weekend, Odell Beckham versus Jalen Ramsey. Giants and Jags. Much has been made of the two All-Pros going at each other to start the year. Both a little brash, both a little excitable, both tremendous talents. Despite tweeting his excitement about playing Odell, Jalen Ramsey is now downplaying the face-off.
A lot of people going to try to make it about me and him specifically. That's not what it's about. Football's a team game. It's going to be 11 guys out there for us, 11 guys out there for them. So we're going to have to come together and do what we got to do to try to get a win.
This is probably, if not the best, one of the best corners in the league. There's no way around it. And this defense that they have is, they have 6, 7 Pro Bowlers, maybe more on that team. They have a very good scheme. They're probably the best defense in the NFL. So we have a very tough challenge ahead of us. But I think we're all excited about the opportunity just to be able to come back, play football again. I know that I'm very excited. So it's definitely going to be a good match.
Before you ask your question, Jenna, I hope everyone's happy. I hope my friend Chris Carter's happy. I hope all the old school media folks are like, this isn't how you act. You always respect your opponent. I hope you're happy because now we've neutered Jalen Ramsey. Odell is doing the same thing. Like that is, man, I needed him barking. I needed him saying I'm going to pull him by his yellow hair.
The audience should know that during that soundbite, three of these guys, all three of them were going like this.
Man, I'm so upset.
Three of you were so
we need Jalen. Don't let them do this to you, man.
That's rich. Didn't Jalen Ramsey, when Odell signed his big contract, tweet out something like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to the showdown"? You thought there was going to be some build-up here.
Nothing has changed. They're ready to get it. I'll tell you what, this is like the calm before the storm. They just don't want to provide any bulletin board material, but they're ready to go. And, I think that the matchup's going to be an interesting matchup, but if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not even putting Ramsey on Odell. Don't look at me crazy. Listen, they got another corner that's A.J. Boye that is arguably, a top 5 corner as well. But sometimes you don't want to waste your number one guy on their number one guy because no matter how great you are as a corner, no matter how great you are as a receiver, those two guys are talented, so they're going to win some. What you do is you double Odell with your second best corner, your 2, and you shut Shepard down. And what happens is that makes them one-dimensional. I'm going to take this off because I don't know it's not Chargers. It makes them one-dimensional. So what happens is you put all the pressure on Saquon Barkley, who hasn't played in the regular season and test that hamstring. I'm telling you what, we're going to find a lot out about Saquon Barkley because Talvin Smith got that hit stick.
Yeah, well, and so that is something we haven't discussed. The idea, and that is something
I haven't been on the show yet.
Thank you. But that's something we've seen guys, the best corners in the league. I think fans think should always trail the number one. Mm-hmm. But if you subscribe to the belief I do, which is typically not always, there's the outlier years. There's the one Revis year. There's a few where the number one guy matched up one-on-one with the number one receiver, and he shuts them down week after week. But typically, great wide receiver against great corner. One-on-one, advantage wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. All the rules are for the offense.
All the rules are for the offense. They know where they're going. Like, there's a lot of reasons they have the advantage there. But great wide receiver doubled, and then mediocre or unproven wide receiver against Jalen Ramsey. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about being able to shut down both of them. The counterpoint would be, if you put Jalen on Odell, AJ doesn't, then you don't have to double either one of them. If you think Jalen can handle Odell one-on-one, AJ Boye, because you're right, one of the best corners in the league, he can handle Sterling Shepard by himself. Then you have a numbers advantage. Mm-hmm. Then you can dedicate an extra guy to Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, whomever it is, right?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, but I don't know that you have to with the suspect right side of that Giants offensive line. But to your point, Bart, I think the X's and O's, that's probably the way that I would approach it. It's what we saw with Bill Belichick when he had Brandon Browner and Darrelle Revis, a big physical corner to jam and he doubled at the line of scrimmage, have your number one corner on their number 2 wide receiver. But beyond that, and looking at Odell Beckham Jr., he is so important to what the Giants want to do. And we know that Odell is an emotionally high-strung player, and that's when he's at his best. I worry a little bit about his maturation and those emotions getting a little bit out of control, because we've seen it before when he's matched up against a number one corner in 2015 going up against Josh Norman. And you saw how that affected that team. This Giants team, and Giants offense in particular, they take on the persona of Odell Beckham Jr.
But
if he gets frustrated because he's not being productive, it could be a problem.
And how do you get him frustrated? By putting 2 on him, so now you can be physical at the line of scrimmage. You can talk to him because you know you got backup. See, when you're Jalen Ramsey, you can't swing and miss. You can Sammy Sosa all day if you know you got that safety bracketing, and you start to swipe linebackers, you get in his head, you smack him around, you talk to him, you pull his hair, you pull his beard, all that stuff.
So basically what Jalen Ramsey did to A.J. Green last year.
Head and shoulders sucks.
The dumbest thing that Odell can do after proving everybody that he showed up at camp and the OTAs and just on getting his money and being just a model citizen is to come out and act like a fool and succumb to whatever it is Jalen Ramsey is going to do to him. But
Go ahead
before I ask my question.
Money only makes you more what you already are. He was putting on an act. I want to see if Odell Beckham would have showed up if they wouldn't have gave him the money. See, everything worked out so he can have that behavior and act like he's mature. You don't change that much that fast.
Interesting to see how.
And I apologize to interrupt, Gino. No, the stuff that you're talking about absolutely will not matter if Odell wins this matchup. If Odell has 7 for $120 and a touchdown, then he can be barking at Jalen the entire game. What can't happen is the A.J. Green situation. That Jalen is dominating you, you lose your cool, forget getting kicked out of the game. That obviously can't happen. But to where you lose your cool and he gets the W. Now, this is what I think is so interesting about this matchup. There are paths for victory for the Giants without Odell having a great game. But if Odell has a great game, the Giants will win. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That if we're talking on Monday that Odell dominated this matchup, the Giants won the game. But if Jalen shuts him down, I still think the Jags are limited enough offensively and the Giants have enough other weapons, most notably Saquon. They could score 17 points, which might be enough, without Odell having a big game.
Is Ogletree in coverage?
What?
That could be a problem. That could be a problem. But ASJ is banged up. So here's the thing. I'm looking at this matchup. I'm looking at this matchup, and I will say this, Jenna. You do have to be concerned about Odell Beckham Jr. and making sure that he keeps his emotions in check. But he has to be a factor, not necessarily have production in terms of the catches, touchdowns, and the yards, but he has to be a factor in terms of somebody that the defense has to deal with, because you got to create opportunities for all those other guys. Odell Beckham Jr. is the one guy on this Giants team that they can't afford to have a stalemate in his matchup.
Who is going to be more important in factoring the outcome of this game? Whatever Jalen Ramsey can do to Odell, or how big of a game Saquon Barkley can have?
It's got to be Saquon Barkley, because Eli's at his best when he's doing play action and throwing the ball down the field. He's not as accurate as he used to be on intermediate routes. He's a guy that likes to turn his back to the defense, locate the safety, and throw the ball deep down the field. We've seen it over and over, and some of his greatest highlights are some of his best throws, but they're long throws.